Coach, you guys still get an opportunity to play. How big is this for you and your team?
Oh, it's really big. We're super excited to get out there and continue to play. Excited to have, a postseason opportunity. Obviously, you want to be in the big one in the NCAA, but we will gladly take this as a postseason step for our program. And going against a really good Butler team, but just the opportunity to continue to practice and to play and to again move the needle with our program and what we're trying to do to establish consistency and to again keep having that winner's mentality. I think this is a great step for us.
Ben, I asked you about kind of the development of your program on Thursday. How does this just prove that even more so?
A lot, I think for a team that was picked to finish dead last in the Big Ten, that has a bunch of new parts to be able to not only get 9 wins in league, but to now be able to play in a legit, postseason tournament. I think shows the growth of where we've come. From this last spring, even when that year was over, to summer, and obviously what we did this year. And it's a necessary step. I mean, this was always kind of the plan. Like I said, you want to be in the NCAA tournament, but this is the next best thing, and it's the next right step for our program. And so I think we're going to work to take full advantage of it with the practice times and with the game, but also just with the expectation of having that postseason mentality. And this gives our guys kind of a feel for the process of what a postseason looks like. NCAA tournaments, quick turnarounds, right? You find out who you play. You got maybe a couple of days to prepare, and then boom, you're competing. And so it gives you kind of a dry run. But to develop that mentality of, playing for something a lot towards the end of the year, I think is a good thing for us.
Ben, what factors did you consider when you were, accepting this bid? Because there's a couple teams in your league that decided not to. So why was it so important for you to take the bid, have a postseason, and let this thing keep going?
Yeah, I think one, our guys wanted to. They really expressed that they were excited to keep playing. I think they know that this could be a good building block and momentum swing for us leading into the spring and the summer and next year. I think they know that we can play better basketball than how we ended, and I think they want to get back out there and compete. And again, I just think anytime you can get on a national stage and sell the brand of your program and tell our story from where we've come to where we are now is a really good thing when you talk about just the national landscape and you talk about recruiting. And then you also talk about building for next year with just kind of the hype towards, the spring, summer, and next fall. And so for me, it was definitely a no-brainer once I knew all the guys wanted to go and play. And, anytime you can get a chance to compete nationally, we're going to do it.
Coach, there were a couple of coaches when they declined the bid that specifically cited because the portal opened today, they wanted to hit that and not worry about games. How much of a challenge is that for you? And was there ever consideration for you guys? You said the guys wanted to play. Ever consideration to follow what some of those other people were doing in relation to that?
Yeah, no, there was zero consideration. I mean, we were hoping for this. And once we got it there was really zero consideration about worrying about a portal situation. The portal, it is what it is. It's like, hopefully next year, you're in the same position where you're playing for postseason. You're not going to turn down the NCAA tournament berth. So, it kind of gives you a way to figure out how to structure it, for years to come, because it's not going anywhere. So it's a perfect opportunity for us to navigate this new space, to figure out how to do it. I think you can always do both. You can still compete and play, and there's enough time in the day if you're organized where you can deal with the portal and deal with taking calls. You can deal with players on your team. I'm a firm believer we can find time. I just think this is just far too good of an opportunity to ever think about passing up. And again, we're excited to do this, and we're excited to improve our team.
And was there when you have when you said that you asked the guys, they said they wanted to play, what would your reaction have been if they just said no? I mean, you kind of want guys who want to compete, right?
Yeah, you do. Thankfully, you ask the question more from the trans standpoint of, I've been through this as a player and a coach, so that the disappointment of not, whether it's ending your season on a high note or making the NCAA tournament is real, and you just want the human element. You want the guys to be in it. You don't want it to be like pulling teeth and having bad practices and having a poor performance in a game. So, you just want to you want those guys to be able to wrap their head around, all right, if we're going to do this now, let's be 2 feet in and do it to win it and try to advance. And so you have that talk. But, thankfully I knew just the way our guys are that any type of postseason play that they would run to it. Again, this is the same group that was picked dead last in the Big Ten. And I don't think any of us have forgotten that. And when you're picked dead last and people don't have many expectations of you individually or us as a program, to be able to be in, a reputable national postseason tournament, our guys are excited to go out there and play and continue to show the improvements that we've made.
Coach, what has this postseason play process been like for you guys since last Thursday, and how have you guys stayed ready despite not knowing who you were going to play until late last night?
Yeah, no, again, I think it's a good prep, hopefully for things in the future, and that's really the way I look at it. This is awesome for me and our staff and our players to kind of get a format of how this thing goes. And so we did our normal, couple days off leading up to a game, and gave those guys a little bit of time to relax. And then we got after it yesterday and had a really good practice, and we'll get after it today. I think the hardest thing probably is just the quick turnaround when you're dealing with logistics and trying to get out and trying to find practice times and where you're going to practice. And, it was fun to last night and this morning break down film with the staff and kind of divide up, this game, but also the games in the future. But it's a great dry run and a great test for all of us here, to understand this tournament format. And again, I'm glad that we have a team that's excited to play in it, so it makes all that stuff easier. But you get kind of new energy and new life when you see your name on there, and that you're going to be able to continue your season. So having to stay up late or come in early and figure it out, that's part of the thrill of it.
Coach, you seem giddy and you're smiling a lot right now when talking about postseason play. What does this opportunity mean for you as a coach personally?
Well, I just think it shows that we made progress this year, which is what we all wanted to have. You've got the right guys in the room, which is what we all wanted to have. Again, it's an opportunity to be on a national platform and to show our development and hopefully show where we've improved from year 2 to year 3. But it's also the next, it's another right step. Again, don't get me wrong, we want to be in the NCAA tournament, but for this program, from you guys that have covered us from the first day I got here, when you're trying to find 11 new guys and half those guys are Division II or mid-major, to where we are now, where you finally feel like you got your footing in recruiting. You've got your footing in your depth chart and who you've got back. You've got your feet under the ground, and now you've seen the improvement with that added with being successful and winning non-league games and winning conference games, and now you're in postseason play. Again, I don't forget where we started, and I don't want these guys to forget where they started too. And again, we have big aspirations in the future, but you got to start somewhere. And so that's why I'm excited. I'm excited that, we got a group that has put forth the effort to be put in a position where you're considered for something like this, and excited that they want to continue to play, and excited that we get that opportunity starting Tuesday.
Coach, you mentioned the breaking down of the film now starting last night. What do you see from Butler and with Thad Matta there? Is there anything you take from your days at Xavier?
Yeah, well, not only Xavier, but also when Thad was at Ohio State, and I was here, just really good coach. They're going to execute at a high level. They're going to be tough defensively. Knowing that league and the teams that they beat. I mean, that they won at Marquette. They've had some good wins at Creighton. some point middle of the year, I believe there were NCAA tournament talks that were real with this team. So you get a good opponent, you get a good coach. I think it's kind of cool that we get to play in the place that they're going to hold the semifinal and the championship game. So you get a feel for there before, hopefully it happens. So just all around excited. You watch film, and again, it's just you get your juices flowing. It's somebody new. It's out of league. It's different, and it's postseason. So a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, and I should have phrased that better in terms of Thad Matta. I know you guys weren't in the Big East together per se, but he had Xavier connections, obviously being the coach here, and you were there. Did you guys cross paths? Do you know him very well?
No, we did. I did not cross paths with him at Xavier much. He would go to the Butler games just because he literally lived down the block. So like when we would play or at shoot around, there were times where he would stop by or say what's up. But that was kind of the extent of it. Know him a little bit just on the recruiting path, but don't know him intimately by any means. But just know, have a ton of respect for him. Going up against his teams at Ohio State, and just how tough and physical they were, and how they execute, and they're really good offensively, specialty situations, and in the half court. Thankful that I kind of have a little bit of a feel of what we're going up against, and I know that he obviously knows the Big Ten, so there's going to be expectations that I'm sure he's talking to his team about just us and our league, and it'll be a really good matchup.
Your first NIT burst since 2014 when you guys won it. You were an assistant on that team. What do you remember about that, and can that process help for you as a head coach now?
Yeah, I think so. I remember a lot about that. That and obviously playing in it as a player, you just remember, what the guys are going through, especially in the early stages of this type of tournament. You know what it's like at the different venues. You understand, especially early, the team that really wants to battle and compete, normally has a little bit of an advantage. But just the excitement as the tournament continues to build, that's when the guys really start getting competitive. And I just remember in 2014, it was like, the goal to get to the Garden and get to New York City, and to play on the last weekend. I think they still do it where, there's really only 8 teams playing that last, week or end of March, early April. And can you be one of those teams? Can you be one of the ones that are last standing? And then again, just being able to use it for momentum in the spring and summer, and just take advantage of every opportunity. I think that can really help a program like us that is still taking steps to develop and grow.
Coach, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I had technical difficulties there.
Good.
Yeah. Assuming you guys are healthy, how do you kind of get back to that formula and that the success you had, I would say, in the middle of the Big Ten season when you guys were vying for an NCAA tournament berth? I mean, I'm assuming that when NIT looked at you guys, they didn't look at what you guys have done lately, but that team that earlier in the season that looked like an NCAA team. Yeah,
hopefully, a couple of days off and getting guys a little bit of rest will help with that, with just having energy. This is a good matchup where, hopefully we'll be able to play our bench a little bit more, just matchup wise. It could potentially make a lot of sense for us. So, being able to get guys some rest so they're a little bit fresher come the second half. Hopefully, again, something new creates a little bit more energy and juice, because I think that's all it really was. Like, being able to have that towards the end of the year where you're not worn down mentally and physically. You're able to kind of be able to battle the grind of a Big Ten season and not let it take its toll on you as you get towards that last week and a half. And so, I expect our guys to be fresh today. And I think that's half the battle of, like, again, especially early in these type tournaments, the fresher team, mentally and physically normally has a little bit of an advantage. So, I'm hoping these couple of days off got our guys' legs back, and now we can be flying around and playing the really good basketball that we were, like you alluded to, middle of the year.